A healthy mind grows a strong business. Today's guest will discuss challenges that impact absenteeism and recruitment to our internal customers. I'd like to introduce you to Peter Abrahamsen, a psychologist, a coach, counselor, and #1 best-selling author of Transforming Your Life. I just wanted to, if you wouldn't mind giving us just an overview of your magnificent book, Transforming Your Life, just how you transform business challenges that we're facing today.
All right, thank you. Transforming Your Life is a collection of stories of people who have overcome obstacles in their life, overcome adversity. And I wrote a chapter in that book about how I overcame 25 years of depression, how I sought help, got the wrong help, how then in the end got the right help. And that has inspired me to move on and help other people with their lives and their businesses, because there's strength in asking for help. And that is what I basically learned, that never give up, keep asking for help until you get the right help. And businesses need the same. Yes, they know what they're doing, but there are always times where we could need a different perspective, a helping hand somehow. And it's not a shame, it's not a crime to not know everything. I don't have all the answers, but with my clients, I usually do find the answers. And I may be waving to people as we go along, because I'm walking in my village today, and people
That's
know
right.
me. So there will be a dog and a child and a few parents along. so that is what basically led me to think, okay, somebody helped me massively. I got to the end of my life, I stopped that, and somebody helped me to not go back to that place again. And I thought, how can I help just one other person? How can I make a positive difference to just one other person? And I managed to do that. I thought, I can do that again. So ever since in my career, that's now spanned just over 40 years, I actually realized that I'm more interested in the people working there, no matter what the position, than the job I'm actually there to do. So why not make that my job? Be interested in the people and make them realize that they are valuable, that they have a point in being there. That's a purpose to everything. And we can go to work and we can be passionate about what we're doing. And it can be a nice place to be. So why not do that? Because you get so much more from your employees. And life at the top is so much easier.
I totally agree, Peter. I was just wondering, what type of challenge could you share with the audience today that actually helped to evolve the passion that you now have today? What is maybe a challenge that you faced personally yourself?
My personal challenge was 25 years of undiagnosed depression and eventual desire to commit suicide. I didn't, because I stepped back. I took a mental step and a physical step back. What drove me to doing that in the first place was perfectionism, but it also, weirdly, perfectionism that saved me, because I didn't want to be accused later on of not having tried everything. So I went and sought help another time, and then 8 sessions of CBT later, I was ready to fly solo. So that was the thing, well, it can be done. No matter how bad things are, well, why give up? There is a way out, and somebody knows that way or can point you in the right direction.
That's very true. Peter, what has been maybe some of the effects of when your clientele actually knows of your background? What are some of the effects that you've actually faced when they know actually about your past?
I don't hide my past. I'm not afraid of talking about it. I'm not embarrassed. If I were, I would just be feeding into the stigma of mental health issues. That is something we can't talk about. It's absolutely normal. We all have mental health. We have physical health. So why not just normalize it and say, look, you know what? I went through a bad patch. I'm not there anymore. And I'm now also in my, business to consumer side of my activities, counseling other people with suicidal thoughts and mental health issues, and seeing them prosper and flourish is great. And this is what I want to do, and what I do with business owners and chief execs of mid-sized companies. They have a number of employees. I'm working with that top person to make their life better. Because if they're struggling at work, if work isn't happening, organization is sort of sluggish, and no smiles, customers are leaving, total recruitment all the time, absenteeism, people going off sick all the time. Well, that does have an impact on home life because it's pressure. And pressure means longer hours. It means longer hours under pressure. We're talking about burnout all of a sudden. And then the family is screaming, where is daddy, where is mommy? Why do you always glued to your mobile phone when we're on holiday? Can't you leave the damn laptop behind sometimes? All those things just add more and more to the pressure. So my purpose in life, if you like, sounds grand, but hey, is to take chief executives from chief exhausted officer to chief excited officer.
Okay.
A business that is easier to run, one that can run with them on holiday for a change. Wow. Because there is this word that very often is missing out of business. There is trust. Trust is the big thing that we need to learn. We need to give, we need to receive, and show that actually it can be done. And someone has to start. Trust is a give and take thing. And if you show trust, you will get it back.
So true. Peter, I was just curious listening to you. Do you think it's really great if the upper level, like as you mentioned, CEOs, CFOs, would maybe even have programs at work that could connect families together? Do you suggest maybe some type of program where the family could be involved of all of the employees? Do you suggest programs like that?
It is not something that is in my program called Healthy Minds for Business, but my program is open enough to take into consideration what I come up against. And if family life is something that is looming large, well, of course, we introduce that, not a problem. Because as I keep saying to everybody who cares to listen, business is about relationships, nothing else. But it's not just business relationships. It's a relationship with yourself, first of all, but it's also the relationship with your family, with your children, with your parents, with friends. A lot of people are actually affected by your business or by you being in business. And it doesn't matter if you are the rank and file doing the regular low-level 9-to-5 job. If you hate it passionately, you'll take that hatred passionately back into your family life. And it messes things up. If you are the top person in the business, there will be even more pressures that you can't avoid taking back home. And then what is not happening or is happening badly back home, if you take that into the office again, if the chief exec is not feeling great, the rest of the organization isn't either. So I'm saying it has to start at the top. Get the top person to be the healthiest and most grounded person that you can be. See the value in employees, not look at them as a cost center or a pain in the neck. They're there to do the work that the business lives on. They're doing the selling, they're doing the production, they're doing the customer services. They're actually the ones doing it. So if you look after them, they'll just like doing it instead of doing it grudgingly. That means you will have fewer days off sick, you will have less presenteeism, where people turn up and they do the job, but it's not really, or they turn up because they're afraid of getting sacked. So the benefits are sort of not very tangible to begin with, but you will find, and the rain is coming down heavier and heavier now, it's going to be interesting. So you will find that you will see you get more value for your dollar or your pound or whatever the currency is, because you're actually getting what you pay for. In the UK, you are paid full salary during illness, up to a point, depending on contracts and rules and regulations. But why would you pay a full day rate for someone who's not doing anything?
Correct.
When you could invest a smaller amount or no amount to actually get people to be at work all the time, so that the sickness absence is genuine. It's not caused by being at work. And that we've got two things to look at here. That's the compassion. every follower who follows a leader wants actually basically four things. They want trust, they want compassion, they want safety, and they want hope. So trust is you tell people what's going on. You listen to them, you act on what they're telling you. So you're engaged with one another. You show trust and willing. Compassion is when you show caring. So if someone's having a bad day, okay. So if something has blown up at home, for example, you can't just leave that in the car park. You take your emotions and your personal problems into the company. So why not give that person a bit of space and a bit of arm around the shoulder treatment, whatever that means in the context. And
but you know what? So true.
And then the safety thing is not about health and safety. It's about knowing that I have what I need to be able to do my job. I'm being trained. I have regular communication with my supervisor. Someone is interested in what I'm doing, and we are getting it sorted. If I have a problem, I can go somewhere and discuss and sort out that work problem. And then hope is the bit where the company, this chief executive, has a purpose, a vision. This is where we're going, guys, and this is what your contribution is to all of this. Now, I know it sounds very textbooky, but it does actually work, and you don't have to list it up, and you don't have to make a big deal out of it, but make it a deal.
Yes,
not a big deal, but it's a deal.
Yeah,
it's part
excuse
of
me
the
one
strategy.
second, Peter. You remember I told you that I feel that you humanize. When I was looking at your book and just viewing a lot about you, you definitely humanize and personalize your relationship with the company. And I just wanted to ask, when you do come on board and you're working with some of the businesses, how does it make you feel when they really don't, like as you say, don't want to move forward and maybe talk about trust or even try to create relationships surrounding trust? How does that make you feel, as a professional?
Well, I've felt that for a long time, being an employee and having worked with businesses for 18 years as a supply chain consultant, where I could walk freely amongst everybody. And I could see the sad faces. I could hear the frustration when the guy on the forklift truck says, well, why is management listening to you? I've been saying this for the last 5 years. My heart sinks, because there is this gold mine right in front of every employer called the employees. There's a bit of car going past here. And it doesn't make me feel great. And there are employers out there who would have switched off by now and don't want to listen to what you and I are talking about, which is sad. But then there are those who are my clientele who think, actually, I want to do the right thing. I'm not quite sure how. Or I am seeing all these signs of the down in the mouth, or the stagnation, the sluggishness of the business. I wonder, what can I do next? Because I've bought the technical solution in a shiny box and I've implemented it, but still doesn't work. And I'm not joking here. I've been part of putting in a CRM system 3 times in the same business. Wow. And none of them worked. And they all got accused of not working. But it was the people working with the systems that weren't ready. They weren't geared up to working with them. So of course you get no value from a system if you don't use it as it's designed to be used. So yes, you can go into what I call shiny box syndrome and go and find a technical solution. But very often there is a human solution right in front of you that you need to sort out before you're ready for the technical solution. I don't mind technical solutions at all. I love them, but they have to be there for the right reason and at the right time.
Yes, they do.
And I've been replaced in the past, more or less, by machine translation. But actually, it took the dreary, repetitive work away from me, so I could get to do the more exciting bits. But that's a long time ago, and I left the industry of translation many, many years ago, and I don't know what it's like now. But there are jobs that machines, technology can do better than the humans can. So we have to integrate machines and humans and make sure we get the best of both worlds. So it shouldn't be this warfare between one or the other. Let's face it, things are developing. We can't stop that. So why not just embrace it and see what we can do?
Exactly. Let me ask you this. Now, you mentioned your niche, your customers are. Could you just give us a brief, just who your customers are and what type of problem, basically, would you say when you go in, you're looking to solve for them? You've already, I know, given us sort of an overview, but just tell the audience who your niche is and the problems that you
see. What my niche is the chief executive of a mid-sized company. They have, say, 20 to 50 employees upwards. Not big corporate and not a two-man band either, but someone with a fair amount of employees, someone who sees that actually, I think our unscheduled absenteeism is too high. I think there's too many people leaving us. There's too much money getting wasted in training and recruitment. And, it's not, with the people we have, we're not achieving enough.
Exactly.
That is the problem. But the problem is really, why are we not achieving enough? And that is where I can help looking at, it's a people problem. It maybe is an attitude problem at the very top. So change the attitude. That costs nothing except my fees. But there are things that you can do that actually doesn't cost anything. It just means a change of heart and a change of mindset. And when you start treating people with trust and respect and human decency, then they will respond in kind. They may do a double take if they're not used to it, but persevere, keep doing it because you believe in it. Yes. The worst thing you can do is do this as a tick box exercise and just say, right, okay, we now have a 24-hour phone number for some counseling service somewhere that you can just go and ring. Numbers on the notice board. Enjoy. No, you can't do that. You have to mean it. You have to make it part of your strategy. It has to be part of the board meeting agenda regularly. How are we doing on this? And this is where I am advocating a piece of software to do regular staff surveys. They will be anonymous. They will be covering every layer of the organization, and then you can start doing improvement projects in one or two things and involve the people from different layers of the organization as you go along, because then the involvement is there. Okay, so you want it. Okay, so you help us put it in place. It's not like you want it, we do it for you. We are, I hate this expression really, but we are in this thing together. But you have to demonstrate the togetherness. So I am advocating putting responsibility where it belongs. And business owners have a lot of responsibility, loads of it. Heaps of it. And I'm actually not going to add more to it. I'm just going to explain what they can do to live up to that responsibility. But I've also,
and you know what, Peter, can I ask you another question? What about employees? What do you feel would be their responsibility here? I hear you in terms of the top leadership. What about employees? Their responsibility here?
Employers are totally and legally responsible for the health and well-being of their employees.
Okay.
The employees, I believe, are responsible for wanting to be part of it, for wanting to work for this purpose of the company, for not sabotaging or not taking the mickey, to accept that they are being treated as professionals and as adults. So they have to do the same in reverse, so that it becomes a mature organization, not like parent and child organization. And that can sometimes be difficult. And there are times where you have to do the best for an employee, and that is to help that person find a job with a competitor or somebody else. Because if the culture is right and being lived, you can have company values, but if you don't live them, you don't have a company culture. So again, don't post your company values on the wall and on your website if you don't live them, because then you can have lovely values but a toxic culture. So but it takes everybody to tango, to be part of this. And this is where the responsibility of the employees come in. You shouldn't, as an employee, expect to just sit there and receive. It has to be give and take. And I know that from personal experience. I have been the absolute horrendous and disruptive and negative employee. And
oh no.
and it wasn't always fair. Yeah. But then again, at the time, I was suffering from depression and I didn't know that. So my poor mental health got in the way of actually seeing, some of these people are actually doing pretty all right by me, but I just didn't accept it. So you have to have that dialogue going. You have to understand, why is this person resisting? What can I do to help? And if there's nothing you can do to help, then maybe that person isn't right for the company.
Wonderful. And I
happen.
love that. You said it takes two. It takes two to tango. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes. In business, in our personal lives, you absolutely, Peter, it does take two to tango. And we have to know, like you were saying, when to hesitate, when to pause, when to speak, when to move forward. And you, like you said, leadership are the ones who will lead the employees.
Yes.
And wonderful.
And you also have to accept that you want to be led. So if you are a rebel, if you just can't stand the thought of being employed by somebody, then maybe you should go and start your own business or do something else. But when we start to not anymore look at each other as adversaries,
exactly.
Management is the enemy, you can't trust them, or employees are just lazy, you can't trust them. If you're in that mindset, it doesn't matter what you do, it won't work. So we have to give each other a chance. And it is about relationships, just like in romantic relationships or in relationships amongst friends. If it's not give and take, if you're not honest, if you're not doing things because you want to, if everything feels like a sacrifice, then something is wrong, and you have to find out what is that something that is wrong somewhere.
Absolutely. And I wanted to ask you, with some of your clientele, what would you say have been a result that you today are proud of, a result that's occurred with an interaction that you have with one of your clients that's in place today that you said, Marlene, it's actually working. It's working, and you're proud.
Yeah, I'm proud of seeing when the first barriers come crashing down. When my clients take this step to say, you know what, I'm now standing up in front of my employees and I'm setting out my vision here. I'm committing to doing things in a certain way. And then they go and do it.
Wonderful.
There's a lot of legwork that goes into getting to that point. And that is the whole reason why I work with just the one person. Okay, we can expand that to the whole boardroom if you like, but this cannot be done bottom up. It really is what the top person of the company wants, the company gets. And we look at what is the attitude. Do you actually know anything about this? What misconceptions are going on? We have this frank and open conversation about employment and employer responsibilities, and yeah, that's a bit of slagging off of people, and then we get to the good bits, and we move forward. It's like any other conversation with any other person. See, business leaders are people, and I know, having been at the top of an organization larger than mine, that it can be very lonely at the top. Who do you talk to? I often ask, who manages a manager? Who directs a director? Well, who's looking after the chief exec? So there's a hierarchy that kind of stops when you get to the top. And who do they talk to? So I've been accused of being anti-management. No, I'm not. I'm absolutely the friend of the chief exec, if they want a friend. But it can be very cold at the top because people don't trust you. So you have to show that they can. You have to show that you can, not just by words, but very much by action and consistent action.
But Peter, I just have one more, one other last question for you, and that is accountability. How do at the top levels, the executives, how do you have them to hold themselves accountable, stay accountable for what they're doing in the program?
By not delegating the accountability to HR or to somebody lower down. It's very easy for a chief exec to say, okay, I want this, right? Okay, we have an HR department, you do it, and don't bother me again. So the accountability for me means I want to see progress. I want to see the stats. I want to know what's going on. So it is on my agenda for every board meeting.
Wow.
And if something goes wrong, I hold my hand up and say, okay, I took my eye off the ball. I know that there are spreadsheets, there are databases, that there are all sorts of strategic things and finance and what have you. But it all comes to nothing, and it all gets more complicated. You haven't got an organization behind you that is actually willing to do the work that you want them to do.
Wow. Wait, let me ask you this, because we're actually at the end of the interview at this point, but I wanted to ask you, well, what would be a great, as we know, customers are employees. They're internal customers, but
they are,
what type of what type of loyalty pointer can you give today? We want to end on that note with you. What would you say? You're talking to some people right now who are interested in speaking with you. What type of loyalty pointers, well, even one type of pointer that you give us today that helps to enrich employee loyalty within the business?
I would say start by looking at what things look like, and then show them loyalty in a certain aspect that you have heard come up again and again and again. Say, okay, I not only hear you, I listen, and now I do.
Yes.
Just start, do one thing. Just do that one thing, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be a grand gesture. It just has to be something that is noticeable. And then you can carry on. Just carry on from there. Because if you go in with a big overblown gesture and you can't follow it up, then you actually make things worse. So you totally alienate your employees. And when they see that they could trust you at that one thing, whatever it is, they will be likely to trust you again. And then you can gradually build it all up. But it needs to have a plan. You can't just say, great, done this week, and now we forget about it until next year. No, employee engagement, looking after your employees' health and well-being has to be a way of life. It has to be a way of life. A little every day, not a big thing once a month or once a quarter. Just a little every day makes it so doable and far less expensive.
I agree. That's great, Peter. I totally agree. And just wanted to tell you, I really appreciate your taking a walk with Marlene today. And I want to tell you that it is storming here. It's storming. I would be right out there with you. I didn't want to put the device out in the storm. So I said, well, I want to tell you that I definitely believe in being active-minded and active in our bodies as well. Yeah. Peter, we need to do that more. And that's why I actually created this program. And I'm so happy that you're here today with us. Would you please end by telling us how we can get in contact with you? I'll also attach it on the YouTube video below. But if you could tell our viewers how they can reach out and contact you.
The best way to contact me is probably to find me on LinkedIn. You'll have all my contact details there. We can always set up a Zoom call or a phone call, whatever we decide. I prefer Zoom calls because I like seeing the people I talk to. You can email me, you can give me a ring, and that's the best thing. I think I can read out my email addresses and numbers now, but it will all be garbled. So it's probably better if you stick it at a caption underneath or something, and then by all means, what I do is from the ground up. I don't go for the technical solution or the highly complicated thing. We need to get the basic stuff right. It doesn't sound sexy, but if we don't do that, then we have nothing to build on further. So we will create your own statistics. You will see what does it look like in my company. Never mind what the world statistics say. They're not relevant. What's relevant is what's happening inside your organization and why is it happening and what can we do to change whatever is not happening the way it should.
Absolutely. And Peter, thank you so much for being here with us today. And I know there will be viewers who will be reaching out to you because what you're saying definitely helps to humanize, our various companies. And this is something that's really in demand today. We need it. You know why? Because our customers are looking for that. But thank you so much again. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Been a
Thank
pleasure
you.
talking to you, and I'll go back
Wonderful.
and out of the rain.